Alright, so this video is going to be in response to a collaboration video that Chase Ross and Ty Turner did. Now, you guys know a little bit about Chase Ross. He is a major trans guy YouTuber who is also a major SJW, and he and I had a little argument. I wrote like this really long, and I made it as civil as I can, this really long letter to him, and also did a response video to him, and he just completely ignored me. But the weird thing was that in a later video he did, he mentioned me, but not by name, like going very covertly around it, but at the same and then like misrepresenting my arguments, and at the same time not willing to debate me, not willing to actually talk with me. So yeah, he's not a very nice person. Ty Turner is actually kind of cool. I'll link his channel. He's not that much of an SJW, he doesn't really make that much SJW content, but he does hang with the wrong crowd, and have a lot of SJW kind of opinions that clearly come with hanging with SJW crowds. So let's get into the video.
You wish! Hunty, you thought.
Okay, this is gonna be a recurring theme throughout the video. This is just so weird, because Ty Turner and Chase Ross act almost like they have a relationship, but actually from what I understand, Ty is already in a relationship. I think Chase might already be in a relationship. So they act like they're a couple or something, but it seems like from the context that they're not. It's just so weird.
Wait, my muscle isn't even in this video.
Hey guys, it's me.
And it me.
Wow, introducing yourself in my fucking video. This is Ty Turner, and if you don't know him, go to his channel, because
you'll know me.
Aww. He's been here for 2 weeks and we've done things. Don't you wish you knew? Today we're gonna be talking about
Which lips?
oh shit! People who don't want to do us.
Basically.
Literally, I wrote down in the piece of paper.
Cut it open.
A slit. Wow, to a trans guy?
To a trans guy, you're gonna say slit?
This is not a video. People don't want to have sex with us because we're trans.
I mean, that's what we're talking about. Is that true? Maybe not.
So Ty is actually being pretty reasonable about this, saying, oh, is that true? Maybe not. Adding some skepticism to it. But of course, Chase is just gonna... There's no nuance there.
Maybe.
I mean, I feel like hashtag depressing, trigger warning. I feel like that for me.
This is our feelings. It's not the reality.
Again, Ty, you're actually making a good point, just specifying this as your feelings and not the fact. But Chase, why'd you have to add a trigger warning? Why you have to make everything? Or see, that problem with this is that Chase actually used to be a really nice guy, and now, he's just a crazy SJW and just not open to talking with people who are different from him at all. Unless, I mean, I guess Ty counts because Ty does have a different opinion, but they're still, like, within that SJW circle.
Yeah, I mean, this is how I feel in my current moment right now. So maybe we could start with you and how, like, do you feel like cis people specifically?
Wow.
To a trans guy? If you don't know the joke that we're making, please go watch his video on his channel.
So, this whole joke, I mean, I don't really understand the full context behind it. From what it seems, is that it's like a hyper-offended kind of joke. It's kind of like a hashtag triggered kind of joke. It's like, oh my god, I'm so offended you would say that to a trans guy. But the whole point of it is that it's ironic, it's sarcastic. Like, they're pretending to get super offended about things because they're trans guys. But the funny thing is that Chase is one of those hyper-offended SJW people. So why are you joking about it? Like, you are one of the people who you're making a joke about. How do you not realize that, Chase?
Of a video we just made.
His video of a video.
Of a video in the video.
In the piece of paper in the video. Anyways.
Please tell me. When Bay licks your eyeball.
This is so weird. This is so weird. Like, what you say, what? Like, they act like they're in a relationship, but they're not, from what I understand. Like, why is Ty licking his eyeball? Like, I'm sorry, that's just gross. I don't care whether you're a couple or not. That's just disgusting. I've never understood, like, licking people's faces thing. Like, it does not seem sexy to me at all, even though it's supposed to be a sexual thing. It's like winking, but grosser. Like, it's so weird. Like, if you guys are a couple, why don't you just say that you're a couple? If you're not a couple, then why are you doing this? I don't get it. Like, you can't really platonically lick somebody's eye.
So I've basically been in like 2 long-term relationships back to back. I dated a girl for like 9 months, and then I've been dating Christy for 2 years, and those happened like within a month.
Look at the faces that Chase is making. Does he even understand what's going on? Like, why is he making those faces? This is like Steve Shives.
Each other, or like two months. I don't remember the exact time frame, but it's been a long time since I've been like on the dating scene. But I get all these comments on my YouTube videos asking me if it's hard for me to date people, or even in real life whenever I meet people like in my town. I live in a small town in the South, so it's like kind of closed-minded.
Now, even though I understand that some people might be ignorant if they're kind of closed-minded, asking if it's hard to date people being trans is a completely legitimate question. It's a completely legitimate concern to have something about it. Trans people are, in general, people are not going to want to date them as much because people are not attracted to trans people as much. And from what I understand, at least, Chase and Ty have not had bottom surgery yet, so people aren't going to be that attracted to them because they haven't had bottom surgery yet, and that's just the way things go. That's just the way people are attracted. Like, it's nobody's fault, man. That's a perfectly legitimate question, and the answer to that is usually yes. It usually is.
And a lot of people are like, is it hard for you to date people? Or is your girlfriend a lesbian? And I'm like, oh yeah, clearly she's a fucking lesbian because I'm just such a woman.
I'm actually laughing at this part. That was legitimately funny, Ty. I'm glad that you're not taking this to heart too much. That, you know, when people do ask ignorant questions like, is your girlfriend a lesbian because you're a trans man? Which isn't even that ignorant. Like, I get it, like, people might not understand that you're a man, which is completely confusing considering you pass so incredibly well. But, like, I like that you're not taking that to heart and getting super offended. You actually seem rational.
I think that because you live in such a small place, though, like, people would assume that it's hard for you to find someone.
Yeah.
And then it would be easier for me because I live in a huge city.
Right, so I get
Again, that actually is reasonable. Thanks for making an actual reasonable point, Chase.
all the time, like, people asking me, like, oh, is it hard for you to date people? I can imagine it'd be so difficult for anyone to want to fucking date you being trans. And I'm like, I've never had that experience, but, like, it makes me feel like that's how people think of me, like I'm undateable, and it sucks.
Come on, Ty, you're better than this. You're better than this, man. You're actually rational. Like, you're like, oh my god, they were all saying that it's hard for me to date because I'm trans. Do you know why they say that? Because not that many people are attracted to trans people. I'm sorry, that's the way it is. I wish that wasn't the case, but that's the way it is. Like, why are you getting so offended about it, Ty? Oh my god, man, like, you may be a somewhat rational person, but you're still completely wrong, and you're still getting over-offended.
Yeah, and especially because it's a lot of trans people, too, I feel that, like, insinuate that we can't be loved.
Yeah.
Maybe they may actually know a thing about that. It's not that you're unlovable or undateable, just it's difficult for people to love a trans person, or date a trans person, or have sex with a trans person, or whatever. Because that's just the way human attraction goes. Maybe if you do get bottom surgery, if the results are really good, which, by the way, let me just throw this out there, because Chase is complaining about this. If you have bottom surgery results and it looks really good, and, you know, functions really good, I can understand that it wouldn't be quite as hard for you to date people and have sex with people. But Chase, who's complaining about this, has been open about what he wants for bottom surgery. He wants a penis and a vagina. Yeah, and he's wondering why people won't date him. I wonder why, Ben. I wonder why. Like, I don't even understand why he's doing that. That's gonna make the surgery a lot harder, that's gonna cause a lot of complications, and he knows this. To be fair, he knows this, and he's still going through with it. But it just seems, I get it's your personal life, man, but that's so weird. It's so weird. What? But, like, if you're gonna want to have a penis and a vagina, fine. Do whatever weird, gross stuff you want. And look, I get it's personal life, but that doesn't mean that people aren't gonna judge him for that, because that is weird. But you can't do that stuff and then expect people to date you. You sound a lot like Riley Dennis right now. I mean, seriously, man.
And I get that a lot on my videos. Like, I feel like it is so hard to find someone where I am. Online is a different story. Like, people are everywhere in the world.
People
of course,
are fiending.
I see you. I see you commenting, I'll be your daddy, I'll marry you, papito. But, like, online is different than in person, and I feel like because of all this internalized transphobia that I've had because of the comments.
Oh my god, you're talking about internalized transphobia now? Oh, it's because of those YouTube comments, you know, those YouTube comments asking if it's hard for you to date with your trans, which is a perfectly legitimate question. You're all hating yourself, you're internalized transphobic. Like, seriously, man, you're that sensitive that some YouTube comment is gonna get to you and make you feel like nobody wants to have sex with you, which nobody is gonna want to have sex with you. Sorry. I shouldn't be making fun of him like that. You're that insecure, you're that sensitive, seriously, man. I get hate on my YouTube channel all the time, especially recently with all these SJWs getting triggered. Like, I get hate all the time. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me. And it shouldn't bother you. Come on, man. Grow up. Grow up. And I think even Ty would agree with me on this. I mean, just look at his face.
And because of just my own stuff of like, oh, cis men aren't interested in me, that means I'm not really masculine, I'm not really male.
Well, it would make sense that quote-unquote cisgender gay men wouldn't be interested in you if you don't have the genitals that they're looking for. I mean, I'm assuming Chase is gay from what I've watched from his videos. Like, he went from being a lesbian to being a trans guy who still identified as a lesbian, to being a straight guy, to being queer, to being gay. Like, it's been a long journey for him. And that actually does happen sometimes when people go on testosterone. I mean, I don't understand the whole thing, I'm a trans guy who's a lesbian thing, but otherwise, I actually have heard of trans guys who just the hormones have changed, and they went from liking girls to liking guys, and that is actually a legitimate thing. But Chase just seems so insecure with his sexuality and with other people's sexuality. It's just so weird.
Which is such a fucked up thing to think about because that's not true, but I still feel it inside me. I'm like, I'm not dateable. I'm gonna have to like settle for some cis guy that I ain't interested in or some trans guy that I'm like, about. No, fuck, no, because...
Who?
Who is he?
Are you talking about me? Some trans guy? Me?
I just feel
to
like
a trans guy? No, I'm kidding.
I just feel like
I feel like you'll have to settle because you're not good enough to get what you want.
Yeah, and I'm like, I feel like I'm way too fucking complicated.
Yeah, I don't think necessarily, even if you're trans or you have like a disability or something that would make it just harder for you to date, that doesn't mean you necessarily have to settle. I think it is perfectly possible to find a person who you truly care about and who truly cares about you, even if you do have difficulties with that. I've heard of very few people having to settle for somebody in a relationship, not just like, I've heard, of course, people having to make compromises in a relationship, but the whole relationship in and of itself is like a compromise? No. I've barely ever heard of that. And I doubt that happens to trans people, really. I mean, if you're active and you're pursuing dating, I don't see why you shouldn't be able to find someone. And then you're saying, I'm too complicated. Like, is this a whole I'm special kind of thing? Like, you just gotta throw in that you're special, and you're so complicated that no one can date you. Like, come on, man. What? I mean, except for, like, maybe the whole... Sorry, but the whole surgery thing. I guess that is kind of complicated.
And I'm like, this is what I want. And I'm like, do I gotta be picky? Am I picky? Is it okay to be picky?
It is okay to be picky in your dative preferences, which includes not wanting to date trans people. This is clicking your mind, Chase. Do you not understand? Oh my god.
You can be picky. Anyone can be picky.
Yeah, but then I'm alone forever and I'm like fucking lonely.
Exactly what you want.
I have my 2 puss, like 3.
Okay, let's just analyze that little scene right there. I don't know what the joke was. Really? Chase made some, like, sexual reference. I mean, he could have been referring to his cats. Either or. And then, he made this weird sound, like he sounded like, the alien in Galaxy Quest, like, her translator was broken, like that. And then I think Ty said something about Haram. Like, what happened right there? I don't know what it was, but it was actually legitimately funny, although kind of unintentionally.
So I feel like the point of this is to maybe reiterate that, like, don't settle for someone just because they're interested in you. Like, there are a lot of chasers out there. a lot. Like,
And even if it's not a chaser, I mean, you don't have to find specifically someone who's only interested in trans people.
No.
I hate this whole thing in the quote-unquote trans community where they call anybody who's exclusively into trans people chasers in a derogatory way. Like, what's wrong with just liking trans people? Isn't that good? Like, which way do you want? If they're not attracted to you, they're transphobic. If they're attracted to you, they're transphobic. Like, which one? What is with this double think? What is with this double think? Like, both of you. Why do you think this way? Why? How does that compete in your brain?
I'm just saying that they're everywhere. Like,
Right,
you go on
yeah.
Grindr and Tumblr and Scruff and stuff like that, and they're just like, are you tran? Literally, are you tran? I've had before.
Tran.
Like, they're only interested in you because you're trans. And I'm like, I ain't a motherfucking thing on your list to check off. Like, things I haven't done sexually. A transgendered man. Like, wow. So, I feel like, I don't know, I feel like all of these things we need to like break down. Like, you know how like society socializes like little baby is to be like boys and shit, and that's like ingrained in you forever?
What? Where did this come from? Like, Chase automatically has to interject some weird SJW theory. Society, socializes people to be boys, and it's ingrained in you forever. I don't know what impression that was. Anyway, he just had to interject that society socializes people to be boys. No, I think that's their parents raising them as boys. They're not telling them that they have to be boys. They're just treating them differently because they are a boy. That's perfectly normal. That's perfectly understandable. Yeah, that might not work out for trans people. Trans people might not like that, but for the rest of the population, it does. And also, you're acting like it's a bad thing to be raised as a boy. Funny how you didn't mention being raised as a girl. Is this a reference to toxic masculinity? Because if it is, please kill me.
I feel like this is so ingrained in us that because we're trans, we're never gonna be like loved because
same level.
yeah, because we're so different, and only
that
cis
has
people.
to be our identity as us as trans people.
Yeah.
And when it comes to relationships, that's so weird for everyone.
Yeah, it is weird for people because A, trans people are not the common. B, it's usually what people are not attracted to. That's just understandable. Both of you, Kai, stop being stupid. You are smarter than this. Stop letting this blue-haired person who wants a penis and a vagina, stop letting him direct how you think. Stop letting him do mind control on you. Because if you actually watch Ty's other videos, and I will link it in the description, I mean, I kind of like his content. He does kind of normie YouTuber stuff, which I'm not a huge fan of, but he also talks about his transition and stuff. So I will link his channel in the description. Like, he's smarter than this, but he just hangs with the wrong crowd, and then he gets all these stupid ideas. It's a shame.
They gotta like, you know, it blurs the lines like
Yeah.
you're trying something.
Like, oh, a gay cis guy can't date a trans guy because he doesn't have a dick, and then the sixth guy is just gonna leave to find a peen, and that's just rude.
How is that rude? How is that rude? It's unfortunate, but being trans is gonna be a deal breaker for a lot of people. Like, they're attracted to certain types of genitalia, and sex is a big part of a relationship. Look, oh my god, it's so rude that a gay guy doesn't want to date me. Yeah, obviously, Chase, a gay guy isn't going to want to date you, and they probably aren't going to want to date you after. Okay, I'll stop joking about this. It's such easy to make fun of. Anyway, moving on.
And it hurts, and that's fucking rude. And I feel that inside all the time, and it sucks, and I don't want to feel like this poopy.
Well, then maybe stop believing this crazy SJW ideology, and you'll feel a lot happier. This is an unfortunate thing. I could talk about this in a whole nother video, but the whole pressure on trans guys, the really weird pressure on trans guys to follow feminist ideology and SJW ideology, it's a emotionally difficult experience. Like, it's difficult to believe in all these things, and you know they are not true because you transitioned into a man and you're becoming to them what they hate. Like, you'll be a lot happier, Chase, if you don't believe in this crazy SJW ideology. You will.
But maybe if we all like talk to each other and have fucking support.
And if you guys are in the same boat where you feel like you're unlovable because you're trans, you really shouldn't feel that way, because there's plenty of people out there. And from experience, I've only literally ever dated straight girls, even before my transition. Yeah. So I know that once people see you for who you are, that if they're a good enough person, if they deserve your love, then they'll see past anything, and not that it's anything that they need to see past.
It is something that they would need to see past. It is something that would be difficult for them. It is something that even a good, nice person, it might be a deal breaker for. Genitals are important. Sex is important in a relationship. I'm sorry, but that's the way it is. Sorry, Ty. Look, both of these people are just, oh my god.
But you know, anyone who acts like it's an issue,
like, they're
not worth your time.
It's not like hi, my name is Chase, I'm trans, that's the only thing about me. It's
Then why is trans all you talk about, Chase? And he doesn't even really talk about his transition that much. He talks about him just being trans. And it really annoys me because it seems like he actually is trans, but he's very confused and brainwashed by these people. And so he has to make it like the most important part of his identity, even though he's not even talking about his transition or anything relevant to it. He's just talking about the fact that he happens to be trans.
more like, hey, my name is Chase, I make YouTube videos about being trans. See?
By the way.
By the by.
Exactly.
I also do like that school stuff. I see you trying to fucking drink your 5 crazy up in here. If you know what we're talking about, like, comment, subscribe.
So the rest of the video kind of devolves into a series of inside jokes that I just don't understand at all. Like, some of them I guess are kind of funny, but like I don't really understand the context behind them, and I don't think the rest of you would necessarily find them funny. And it's just this weird inside jokey relationship. Like I said, it's like very unclear because they act like they're a couple, but they're not, and it's so weird. Like, why? Just, are you a couple or are you not? So to conclude, Ty, you seem like a nice guy. You seem like a smart guy. But please, get out of this hive mind. Get out of this little group of trans guys who all parrot the same ideology, because it puts an emotional strain on you, and it's just not accurate, and you're just believing these outright lies. Like, society conditions you to be a certain way, and, you know, if somebody expresses concern about how hard it might be for you to date people because you're trans, that's not legitimate concern at all. That's just society. Like, why are you even complaining about this if you have no issue with dating people? I don't get it. And, Chase, go fuck yourself. Literally. Okay. I hope you enjoyed this video. And as always, thanks for watching.
Feel the funk black!